Hey everybody, just a little bit of synth gear porn or the 1990s wall of insanity. But that's not what I want to show you guys today. There was some interest before when I was opening up the Avid Matrix to put in some cards. There were some computer people out there who thought it was kind of interesting seeing a computer for a non-Windows kind of use. So here's another example of that. This is a Trinoff Demon 6. Basically what this is a speaker management system. So this sends all the audio to my speakers. It does acoustic analysis and room correction for up to 5.1 monitoring. And it also lets me monitor a second pair of speakers, which are my little Yamahas on the side of my monitors. I can control this thing from an iPad. I also have a USB knob to control the volume. And I think in a few months, Trinoff is releasing a dedicated hardware remote over USB. But I thought you'd find it interesting looking at the inside because I had to change something around in here. Check out the guts inside this baby. We have a little motherboard up here. I'm not too sure what processor it is, but it's a very simple motherboard. There's a flash drive there with the OS. From what I know, it's running Linux. There's a dedicated power supply for it right here. And then below that, there's a separate linear power supply for the audio subsystem. And the audio side of this thing is all this stuff. So it's interesting. We have some off-the-shelf parts here for the computer, but everything else here is custom from Trinoff directly. So they've engineered this stuff themselves, and there's a whole whack of it. And because of that, just like the Avid Matrix, it's not cheap, but on the plus, it's amazing. And the good thing is they've taken care for the loudness of this thing. And just like the Matrix, it's quiet. We see it booting up. It's doing its initial post test. And then once it gets past the BIOS screen, everything gets back to normal. And it's a silent system. And this thing is designed to be on 24/7, just like the Avid Matrix. It's mission critical style equipment. They've taken great care in making sure this thing's quiet and robust. This thing has never crashed on me. It's a beast. So this is as loud as it gets, and that's amazing. And once the cover's on, you can't hear it at all. On a side note, these capacitors are massive. You could literally jumpstart a cat with these things. Look at those. But anyway, you can see that their custom board is on. There's some lights underneath, I guess, for status, for the text. But otherwise, I can connect into this thing through VNC, or I can use my iPad to tap into this thing through a web browser. They've done a really good job in making this work in a studio environment. So there you go. A PC, but not for Windows. This thing isn't for gaming. The speed is probably laughable compared to, a Ryzen or any i7 or i9 chip, but it's designed to do a dedicated task, so it doesn't need the extra muscle. It has all these cards to do what it needs to do and do it well. So there you go. That's the guts of the Trinoff Demon 6. Cool.